Iran will feel pain, I predict, like never before. And they will earn it. They will make it happen. We'll have more of my monologue in a minute. First, joining us now is someone who just met with, today, Iran's chief spokesperson in the United Nations, our friend, Fox News correspondent Geraldo Rivera, and retired CIA senior intelligence officer, Fox News contributor Dan Hoffman. I'm assuming, Geraldo, this was a pre-planned meeting. You didn't know this was all going to happen.
Well, we have met before. He has hooked me up with the foreign minister of Iran on a couple of occasions. Next month, we hope to bring some Fox News key personalities, yourself included, to meet the foreign minister of Iran. I think that what they are struggling with now is they really believe, Sean, and I heard your monologue, and you're, as strong as you ever are on this subject. They see it totally differently. They think they have absolute graphic, undeniable proof that the drone was over their territorial waters. They have offered documentation on that, Sean. They say that this was an act of aggression by us.
They shot an American drone out of the air. They're not getting away with it.
Well, Sean, if indeed the drone was over Iranian airspace, then it's not a question of getting away with it. It's a question of self-defense.
Wait a minute. The president was very clear. We pinpointed the exact location. It was international waters, and we had a right to be there, just like those tankers had a right to be there. And the radical Islamic mullahs of Iran that chant death to Israel and say they want to wipe Israel off the map and wipe the United States off the map are back to who they are, fomenting terror, proxy wars.
They see it completely differently. They see it completely differently.
They
are firm, Sean.
The truth is the truth.
Let's see their proof. Let's see their proof. Let the international community see their proof.
Let them see our response.
Truth matters here. Facts matter. We should not rush into another disastrous military conflict. How many times do we have to go down this road? How many American lives have to be lost for nothing?
You didn't listen to my monologue.
I did 12 combat assignments nearby in Iraq, 12 others in Afghanistan. I've seen the suffering of our GIs in combat. At least let's prove that they were in the wrong.
Geraldo, I never said boots on the ground. I said just the opposite. And this president was clear. He does not want these foreign entanglements where young Americans, like 58,000 dead in Vietnam, and all these kids that died, they didn't even have up-armored Humvees in Iraq in the early days, door to door. Those days are over because Washington can't fight a war without politicizing it. But if you shoot an American missile or drone out of the air, and you attack tankers in the Straits of Hormuz, you're going to get the living crap bombed out of you, and we will win that war.
The president was much more measured than you are being right now, Sean. The president was discreet in his comments. He was measured in his comments. He was he tried to give all parties a way to save their dignity and get out of this crisis. I think that he is standing up to John Bolton and the other hawks in the White House who want to drag us into a conflict.
They wanted to bomb
Iran. They had the song,
bomb, 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 boots on the ground. I said there will be a price to pay, and I want the next generation of weaponry, and I'll bring Dan in here, where we never have to put boots on the ground, because I don't trust the politicians in Washington that send these kids to war and have no intention of following through and winning the war anymore. So
this is the perfect time to renegotiate the nuke deal the president doesn't like.
With radical terrorists,
get these parties together, negotiate a nuke deal.
That want us dead, mullahs that killed our boys in Iraq, mullahs that foment terror, mullahs who want to drop another $150 billion on their tarmac.
Are you talking about Saudi Arabia?
No, I'm no fan of Saudi Arabia either.
Every one of these madrasas, radical madrasas funded by the Saudis.
Geraldo, I've been the most critical of Sharia on television in this country. The most critical.
I'm not blaming you, brother. I love you. But I'm telling you, Iran has a story to tell.
I don't really give a... Listen, they've been fomenting terror.
Careful.
They have been fomenting terror. They killed Americans in Iraq.
When was the last time Iranian terror killed an American? When was the last time?
Excuse me. In Iraq, they literally killed Americans. The evidence was incontrovertible and overwhelming.
In 1988,
Look at what they're doing in Yemen.
Guided missile cruiser Vincennes shot down an Iranian civil airline. Almost 300 civilians were killed.
I
Iranians, children,
want the
60 of
next
them.
generation of military weaponry, Dan Hoffman, so we can't let these idiots in Washington decide to send them and back down. We got to be able to blow them out of the water, and they must pay if they take out in this case, a drone in international waters. And I'm not believing a word that these lying mullahs say.
Okay, so first, Sean, Geraldo, let's take the word of the United States government over malign actor Iran as far as where our drone was located.
The way we took the word of the United States government in 2003,
Hold on. Dan talks.
Yeah, well, in this case, I think, again, you have to remember Iran is the malign actor, and they've got a history of launching increasingly escalatory kinetic action in the Gulf. This is all about leverage. They do want us to return to the Iran nuclear deal, but on their terms. And we have driven their economy into free fall. Their currency is worth nothing, and that's why they've threatened us with nuclear blackmail. Back on May 8th, they said that they would begin enriching uranium to weapons-grade levels if they didn't receive relief from sanctions. We're crushing them. And that's what this is really all about. And the key date for me is going to be as we head towards July 8th. Does Iran start to weaponize their uranium? That's another point. And I think, Sean, the one thing I would highlight for this is my best guess on what we're doing in this administration, we're looking at a proportional response. They hit a drone. It wasn't one of our manned ships where our servicemen and women were put at risk.
I'll tell you this, though. I'm going to tell you this. These mullahs that threaten to wipe Israel off the map, those that would think that when they wrap bombs on their own kids and send them to murder and kill and that they're going to be rewarded in heaven, you marry that to nuclear weapons, you are looking at a potential in our lifetime Holocaust, Geraldo Rivera. That can never happen. Ever happen.
Sean pulled out of the nuclear deal? Who pulled out? It wasn't Iran that pulled out. It was the United States of America.
Iran can't shoot down an American drone, and if they do, there's going to be hell to pay.
Do you know the difference between the Iranian story and the U.S. story? They say it was 9 miles off the coast. We say it was 20 miles off the coast, or 15,
I believe
16
America.
miles off. You're talking 5 miles.
I believe Pompeo. I believe Haspel, and I believe President Trump over radical Islamic mullahs that chant death to America, death to Israel.
John Bolton is a radical U.S. non-mullah.
Let's just make one thing clear, Sean, on the treaty, on the nuclear deal. It didn't become a treaty because it didn't have enough support in the Senate, including among Democrats. It's extraordinarily flawed and puts us at greater risk since it doesn't deal with Iran's ballistic missile threat or the terrorism that they support, as well as the sunset clauses. So we need to get them back to negotiations. That's what the president just said. That's the whole point of the sanctions.
That's a great idea. Let's get back now. Use this occasion
after they pay the price
to do the same thing we did with NAFTA.
China's watching.
NAFTA, the
Russia's
president
watching.
didn't like NAFTA.
North Korea's
he renegotiated NAFTA. He don't like the nuclear deal. Renegotiate the nuclear deal.
I don't want one boot on the ground. I want the next generation of weaponry, so our kids don't have to go to a war that Washington bureaucrats, will politicize and pull out of. That's what I don't want. All right, thank you both. Mullahs of Iran, they've never been good people. Given the opportunity, yeah, I believe they would wipe Israel and the United States off the map and think they're doing the will of God. Their radical form of Islamic extremism, it is dangerous. It is a real, clear, present danger. It is scary. They have a history of fomenting war and terror and fighting proxy wars. They must never be allowed to obtain nuclear weapons. But today, there's Sleepy Creepy, the guy that helped give them the $150 billion to bribe them.